What is the best thing you did for someone? How do you feel about it? One of my former employers once hired a homeless guy to help around the shop. Super nice guy, but was still having a hard time. He would ask me for 25 or so every Friday, and because I was doing well at the time I would give it to him. Eventually I got a new job elsewhere. And on my last day he promised he would pay me back once he had all the money. I had given him around 1,500. A year later he called me to tell he had the money and wanted to give it to me. I told him he didn't owe me anything and the money was his. Guy broke down on the phone. Hell still calls me every once in a while. I once helped a national park ranger deliver a baby at a remote campground. It was an intense experience, and mom and baby were both fine. Was at a friend's house. His dad was nagging him, bitching at a small thing that could have at least waited for me as the guest to have gone home before bringing it up to my friend. Friend was embarrassed, and he sat on the couch, not moving at all, staring forward down, and I could tell he was trying not to cry. His dad calmed down and left. I sat by my friend and told him it's okay, I'm sorry your dad made you feel embarrassed, and got mad. I'm not laughing at or judging you or anything, wasn't sure if he'd want a hug. But I went for it and he hugged me back. I didn't let go until he did first. His dad didn't see because we were in different sitting room. I once bought my neighbor a car. She was pregnant and had been going through rough times. Her husband abandoned her and the baby immediately, and I could hear her crying through our apartment's walls like every night. Long story short, I saw her walking home from the grocery store with bags and arms. I pulled over immediately and gave her a ride home. That night I went on Facebook Marketplace and found an old beater for 400 and put a few hours in over the weekend fixing it. I surprised her for Christmas. She was extremely happy and we still talk to this day. Her daughter is super sweet and I get invited to all her parties and events. I never was the religious type, but when I was a kid and we had a better monetary condition at home, every Christmas we used to cook tons of food and make natural juices, hire a cab since we didn't have a car, and go around the city distributing it to the homeless population. I once stopped a couple of college students that were starting to sexually assault a passed out drunk girl. Not sure I've made any difference in the world. Back when we were just best friends, my fiancée told me that she feels suicidal sometimes. We'd both bonded over going through depressive episodes already. I hugged her and told her she could always talk to me and visit me, or I could visit her when she felt that way, as I wanted her to know that she was loved. She took me up on that offer a few times. Knew someone at school who was raised by a single parent. Said parent develops cancer, and my friend, who had been obviously depending on her, became utterly depressed. Couldn't cook meals, finish schoolwork, do sport. Most of his time was dedicated to his parent. I bought meals for him, helped him catch up all his missed classes, organized stuff to get him outside, etc. He's doing better now, so is his mom. Although we don't talk anymore. Still felt worthwhile. It was a very minor action, but huge consequences. I went to the supermarket, carrying my baby daughter, and walked past the line of trolleys. The trolley guy had just towed a new line of trolleys in. With the electric golf cart type things, they use smaller, single seat, and what they do is get behind that line and push the new trolleys into the back of the old trolleys. As he did this, I was walking past the gap between the old and new trolleys and saw a kid, probably 5 or 6, playing in there. I yelled out stop to the guy and he didn't. I yelled out stop again, and the kid's mother, who was watching him but was talking with her friend, said to me sarcastically, he's going to stop. She thought I was yelling because I thought the trolleys were going to be broken, I guess. I ran over and with one hand grabbed the trolleys. Obviously that couldn't have stopped the trolley cart, but it made the guy driving it notice me and stop. And out came a crying kid, who ran to his mother. I walked away. The trolley guy came over to talk to the mother. She didn't even say anything to me. I either outright saved that kid's life or saved him from serious injuries, as he would have been folded in between 2 trolleys. Not the best, but I love paying for people behind me at the drive-thru. Seeing their faces in utter disbelief or touched always makes my day. I call it selfish giving because I end up feeling great, haha. Saved my brother's life when he was just a baby. I've always tried my best to look out for him, but he thanked me for it the other day and brought up that day. I love him so much and am so proud of the person he's grown into, so I definitely feel really glad things worked out the way they did. 3. I saved a homeless woman from dying. She was having a heart attack, which then became a cardiac arrest. By performing first aid immediately, I did CPR, and luckily she came back. Why did I put the word safe in quotation marks? Well, to be fair, I do believe that it was the ambulance team and their healthcare workers who truly saved her, so the praise should go to them. I just did what I needed to do. In that moment you don't think for long. You just do it because it's the right thing to do. If you were in that position, you'd hope that there was someone to help you. I don't talk about it much because it feels pretentious, but I met some guy in a bar a few Christmases ago who was locked out of his apartment and none of his roommates were home, so I let him crash on my couch. He was gone by the time I woke up, but he left me a really touching note about how grateful he was. I still go back and read it sometimes when I'm feeling down. It really brightens my spirits. He left his phone number also, but I never reached out to him. I don't even know why lol. I just didn't have anything to say, and by now it's been like 5 years, so it would be weird to contact him. Hope he's doing well wherever he is, though. Someone dropped their lotto ticket and I returned it to them. They won 500 and gave me half. There was a homeless guy who would panhandle outside my work pretty much every week. When I would be working, I'd ask what we wanted to eat and would go pick it up for him on my break. He started coming into my work and leaving me tips, usually a dime or a quarter. Really nice, well-mannered guy. Offered to take a friend out of an abusive household and talk about it. BC, I went through something similar. She said it's nice having the option and she's happy I'm there for her. We've had to back out on it twice. BC of situations we didn't foresee, so I wouldn't say it's a nice deed yet. All in due time. Spent my last 10 on some food, a coffee for a homeless man. He cried cause I was the first person to speak to him that entire week. After that I've made sure to give when I can. It's not nearly as good as some of the stories I've just read, but I taught a young autistic boy how to read. I felt in my heart he was capable. It was just a matter of teaching him in a way that he could understand. It took an entire summer. When he first sounded out cat and understood that it meant cat, I cried. The ability to read changes your life forever. I met and became close friends with a neighbor at an apartment complex I lived at the time. He was a single dad, recently discharged honorably from the military and between jobs. Money was tight for him. His ex-wife lived in another state and decided to choose her new man over their daughter. My friend spent his absolute last dollar getting his baby girl on a plane and moving her in with him permanently. I came over to visit and discovered he had literally no food, full on bare cupboards and empty fridge. His daughter was flying in the next day. I was making decent money at the time and wrote him a check for $250 for groceries. I told him to never pay me back, this was a gift. When I gave it to him he was in disbelief and hugged me. The best part was the next day when I went over after work to meet his daughter. There was food everywhere. Couldn't even see the light in the fridge. He spent every dollar for his baby girl to have everything she needed. That was 10 years ago, and we still stay in touch regularly. He has since had a career in tech, remarried, and doing well. He will occasionally mention this story and express his gratitude. I always tell him his appreciation has meant just as much to me as did my gift to him.